Intuitive viewers, how are you? I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're having a good week. We're getting ready to go home in a couple of days, so very mixed feelings about that. I'm very happy to be going home to see my mom, to see my family, to see Lucy, but obviously very sad to leave Cassie here. She was going with us, and it's been so fun to see her and see her boyfriend James and his family and our family, and it's been just a great trip. So I really appreciate all of you kind of giving me the I guess the space and time to kind of be able to do this and rearrange appointments and all of the nuttiness that comes with it. So thank you so much. It was very needed and very appreciated. So thank you. I did want to touch on a few things. I first want to tell you that I just did an interview with Christian Sundberg. If you don't know who he is, you can look him up. It's such an interesting, enlightening conversation. So I hope you guys check that out. I also did an interview with, I was interviewed by Dave from Moonrise. So if you haven't seen that, that's on his channel. We're going to put it over here eventually. We're having some issues with doing that, but if you want to see that, that's on his channel, Dave Johnson at Moonrise. So, okay. That's all that. So let me get right into some questions I had. I'm not going to do a bunch of questions, but I did have some that people wanted me to kind of touch on a little bit. So I'm going to do the best I can and just as I always do, and just try to touch on these a little bit to give you some info. So, okay. So the first question was about this shooting at the Purge movie in California. Someone was asking about, why it happened, what's going on. And so I am going to look at that. Okay, so let me see. So the first thing I'm hearing is unnecessary. It feels unnecessary, like it didn't have to happen, but it did. And it was, I'm also hearing trigger. So there's something about this particular movie or this particular time that triggered somebody. That's what it feels like. Yeah, I'm getting chills with that. So that there's something about that. This is also tying into the other gun episodes and kind of innocent victims. The understanding that if one person's a victim, we're all victims. We're all in a vulnerable state right now. We all feel like this could happen anywhere at any time. And it's kind of, to me, it feels like that's the point. It's like that we need to get a handle on this and to realize that we are all affected and going to continuously be affected by the rampantness and the unregulated nature of such a violent weapon being so easily attained by people that by anyone, but really easily attained by anybody. I just get the feeling of like it continues. It's a continuation of what we've seen before, what we've seen. We have got to get a handle on this. And it is kind of like these things are going to keep happening because not because it's a punishment, but because it's a natural consequence of the society we've kind of created or made with through a lot of things, because I'm feeling like the wealth disparity, but also like education and of kind of a violent tendencies in our the things that we watch and see, and it's all kind of a and then it's not just guns. Okay, so it's not just that. There is that, and that would help a lot to regulate that. But I'm feeling like it's a lot of things. It's not just, it's a perfect storm in a way. That's why these things keep happening. And it's trying to teach us that we need to fix this stuff. It's not so much a punishment as just kind of natural consequences to the society that we have right now. And if we want to change it, we can. It can be changed. It can be stopped. What I feel like is when stuff like this happens, where it's like it's kind of a big problem that eventually affects lots and lots of people, that it makes it more likely something's going to be done. So as much as we hate hearing about all of these awful circumstances, all of these awful shootings, that every time there is something like that, more people are affected, and we're kind of a step closer to people realizing this is not the way to do this stuff. And yet it could end tomorrow. If we all wanted it to, it could end tomorrow. But it's playing out in a way that has to do with natural consequences, but also is trying to teach us this is what needs to change. This is what we need to do. So that's how it's coming across to me. It's very much, and a lot of this stuff, when I ask spirit about these things, a lot of it is bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. We get very, microscopic and look at, one event, and each event is important because it affects people, and then the ripple effect of those people, it has such an impact. And yet they're wanting us to kind of pull out and say there's something bigger at play here. And so it is a very difficult lessons along the way so that we can change things as a society. Most of us want to change it, right? Already 80-something% of people are like, let's get this done. And these things are going to keep happening until we do something. And when I say we, I mean we push and make sure that the people we put into office are reflecting what we want. And that unfortunately, it takes time. I do feel like, and I've kind of talked about this a little bit before, that we are in kind of a protective mode. There's something going on here with the people that are trying to protect us right now, that are really doing a good job, and they're like our FBI and CIA, and people that are really trying to protect us as a society from these kinds of events. They're actually doing a really good job, and there will be ones that slip through the cracks, but they're really doing a good job at figuring out who are actually behind these things and stopping them before they happen. We've already seen that, and I feel that we are in kind of a mode of protection right now. We have a lot of spirit involvement and energy trying to help us and trying to protect us and make sure that we get the things done that we need to get done. It's and a lot of this has to do with our own intention, right? We want to be protected. We want to protect each other. We want these things to change. And so the ball is rolling that way. It's just not, it's not soon enough, for most of us. We want to see it yesterday, but it is rolling in the right direction. Okay. So that's what I'm getting for that. I wish it were better, more immediate news, but that is what that is. So okay. And I got a video from someone who was asking about the coronavirus. Basically, the video was about scientists sort of understanding how the coronavirus is infecting and taking over the cells in the body, and how they were coming up with something to basically block that process. And so I wanted to look at that and ask about that. So the first thing I'm hearing is like sort of. That's kind of what is going to act. Okay. So you scientifically minded people out there, or medically minded, are going to have to tell me what this is. But they're saying it's more of like an absorbing, like the body will like absorb and destroy the disease, something like that. It's something about absorbing it in, though, and then taking it apart. So, and this feels like, it feels like more of a something we would, it feels like something we'd put in ourselves. So like some kind of anecdote, or some kind of like a vaccine or something, but it feels like that. And it feels like, but it's weird because I feel like there'll be before and after. Like before, like, no, you don't have it, so you'll get this. But if you get it, we'll give you this. It's like two different things. Like we'll get it before, or we'll get it after. Either way, you'll be okay. This feels like it's a little bit later, though. So we clearly, we have the vaccines right now, but there's something else coming that like is more what this person was showing me. But they're saying that's kind of right, but it's more like an absorbing and dispersing, or absorbing and separating, or something. So it's like your body takes it in and then gets rid of it. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So hopefully some people that are more medically, scientifically minded can take that and run with it. Okay, so the next one somebody asked about was Governor Cuomo. So let me look at him. So the first thing that is coming in is some of the stories are true. Yeah, I'm getting chills with that. A few of them are not true, or embellished, or like kind of made to be bigger than they were, because there was an opportunity. They're saying he's made enemies in his career, and in the way he does things. He's made enemies. People that actively don't like him and want the worst for him, want him to not succeed. As I'm getting into his energy and like motivations, he really doesn't see himself as misogynistic or negative towards women. I think he does like women. I think that he does maybe too much. I think he likes, because I feel like there's a real like love for his mom, you know, and so I feel like if you were to that he really believes he likes women and kind of puts them on a pedestal, but he also has the tendency to think that he graces people with his presence. They'll be glad to have him give them a hug or touch them or talk. He does have a big ego, which probably isn't news, you know, it's not a news flash. It's just, but that comes across that it's like, why wouldn't you want me to give you a hug? Why wouldn't you want me to, you know, to whatever, touch you on the back or touch you on the shoulders or whatever? So in that way, it's kind of like, it's a little odd. He couldn't imagine basically somebody not wanting him to be around them, with them, giving them a hug, giving them a kiss. It's like, wouldn't you want me to? I'm, you know, Governor Cuomo, you know. So there is that feeling of like just a big ego, you know, really enjoys his own company. Let's put it that way. But I feel like, so in a way, he's blind to a lot of these things. He doesn't have the proper perspective in a way to understand where people are coming from with this stuff. So he really does feel kind of stabbed in the back in a way by people. He does not see it the same way that they do. And so this may be a hard lesson for him. And he's not a kid. I don't mean to make it sound like he's naive or something, but he doesn't understand how somebody wouldn't want him to you know, give him a hug or give him a slap on the back. It's so he does feel a little betrayed and a little hurt. But he does think, you know, if I did something bad, it wasn't my intention. And I do think that's true. But I also think that he has a weird way of looking at stuff, and he has a huge ego that kind of lets him it allows him to let himself off the hook a lot for stuff. So I don't think he's a bad person. I really don't. I think that he has a huge ego, and I think that he has problems with perspective. I think that's a nice way to put it, I guess. And he may have to learn some of these things the hard way. Learn that even if you think that they shouldn't be bothered and they are bothered, that's valid and you need to listen to that, right? That's kind of the lesson here for him, because it is a matter of like not being able to, it is almost a little sociopathic in a way, because it is kind of like, I can't even put myself in your shoes to feel that way. You must like me because I'm so wonderful and charming and everybody likes me, that kind of thing. So it does almost have like that kind of quality to it, but I don't think it comes from a place of like evil or mean or taking advantage of people. I do think it's just like, I'm great and the life of the party and everybody sees me that way. It's like almost like a disconnect. So that's the way I'm seeing him. And you know, people are complex, right? They're not just one thing, and there's a whole host of experiences they've had that have lent to their own experience. So I'm not getting a complete composite of who he is, you know, but I'm getting bits and pieces, and I'm trying to kind of tell you how I kind of think this happened and came about. it feels different than Trump, to be honest. And it's not because Democrat, Republican, it has nothing to do with that. There are certain people who I just feel like they really are a victim of their own ego and their own charisma and charm. With so it's a little bit different, I think, than Trump, but it's still a problem. And and when you cross those lines, whether you think it's okay or you didn't mean it, the law is the law, and the people's, the way they feel is the way they feel. Feelings are valid, right? So, but I do feel like some of these charges are absolutely what happened, and other ones are a little embellished, a little made up to make it, to seize an opportunity to get rid of someone you don't like. So it's a little bit of both. And so that's the way I'm seeing it. And I'll just kind of leave it at that and let you guys draw your own conclusions and what you think, should happen to him. I feel like he probably shouldn't be in the position he's in with the way that, he sees things. I think it's a little off. Let's put it that way. But I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's an evil person. I think that he's just a little bit needs some grounding, and then maybe get back into things later. Okay. So I'm going to look at the DC Capitol Police, the suicides. So if you remember, before we came out here about a month and a half ago, I had a repeated message about a senator's death and a suicide. And I surmised that, because I felt like it was really bad, but I felt like it was an old white guy. So I kind of surmised that it could be a Republican. It turned out to be a Democrat. It was, I can't remember his name, but it was a Democrat senator. And then 2 days later, there was a suicide. And at the time when I got those, I thought either it is the same person because it feels so closely connected, or they'll happen in like right after each other. And that's what it was. It was like the death of the senator, and then a couple of days later, this suicide. And suicides are tricky, right? Because I think they can be reversed. I don't think that they're written in stone necessarily. If I'm picking it up, it means something is leaning that way. And if there's the probability is that it will happen around this time. And I think that it had to do with the committee. And that's kind of why it was like around this, it was around the committee and the reaction to the committee, the Republicans' reaction to the committee, the way they kind of dismissed these four, I think, very brave Capitol Police officers telling their story on Capitol Hill, the way the Republicans kind of dismissed that. I think it was very hurtful, and I think it was hurtful to a lot of police officers, the way they kind of made fun of it and stuff. It was really very cruel. And I think that's what, why that it was a possibility. So anyway, so those two things happened. So I kind of want to look at that and then look at the whole as to why these are happening. I'll tell you right off the bat that I don't get the feeling it's any kind of deep conspiratorial like murders or anything like that. I do feel like it's more that's interesting. Okay. A long time ago, I think this happened in like 2009 or 10, something like that. There was a string of suicides in Wales. If you don't know about it, look it up. But there was a string of suicides in Wales of all young people hanging themselves, which is weird, so weird. And at the time they thought, is it a cult? Is it a, what is this? Are they being driven to it by something? Do they all share a secret? What is going on? But what it was just a, almost like a mass, it was basically like a copycat kind of string of deaths. One would encourage the next, and I feel like that they're showing me that documentary, so I know what that is. And so I believe that the conclusion was just like, it was like a mass, like not say delusion, but it was like a it was a solution to people, that other people were taking this ultimate solution of the way out of the pain of being a teenager, being a young person, and being in Wales, where there wasn't a lot of opportunity at the time. It was the weather's awful there. There's a lot of things that were very difficult, but it was almost like I took this way out, and you can take this way out too, and then the next person. So that's what it was, like a chain reaction, basically. And that's what they're trying to tell me with this, is that it's a chain reaction of an escape from this pain. I have to say, I do feel like one or more of them had actual physical pain involved as well. And it was kind of like, they may have either been told, or they felt like this is just something you have to live with for the rest of your life, this pain, or this damage to your body. So I feel like there's at least a couple that there was something wrong physically that they didn't feel would get better. I feel really dizzy right now. So I feel like there's a real, something's definitely reaching back to me right now, telling me that these police officers need help. They need immediate help. They need to be understood. They need validation of what happened to them. They need to be encouraged to get help and to not be feel ashamed. And I also hear the song "Always Something There to Remind Me." I feel like that. I was trying to think, what song is that? Always something there to remind me. So I feel like, okay, so I'm feeling like it's a catch-22, right? Because if they go to work, it's like they're consumed with this when they're alone. When they think, okay, I'll go back to work. When they go to work, that's where everything happened. That's where everything was. So there's no escape from it. It's there when they're not at work. It's there when they're at work. So there is always something there to remind them. And so particularly at work, everything is a reminder. And yet that's who they so identified themselves, that position is so identified with their persona. My position as a Capitol police officer, that's who I am. That's not just what I do, that's who I am. So they're so identified with this position, and then to have it so abused, and then being taken out of it, and then trying to go back to it, but it not being at all the same, and that's who I am, then what am I? Who am I? Who am I now? So there's an identity crisis going on as well. But I feel like that's all they want to say about it, but that's what they need, and that's what's happening. So with each one, it's more likely there'll be another one. So this is what they need. They need our help, their understanding. They don't need more there doesn't need to be some kind of conspiracy theory. This was completely traumatic horrible event that left them all scarred in all kinds of ways. They need our help, our understanding, our validation. They need to be encouraged to get help. And that's what they need. And yeah, I feel that very strongly. To me, there's nothing that feels like there's murders going on. They're being kept quiet for something. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like pure trauma that I can't escape. And the more that, and this public viewing and this public, like, people putting them down, publicly in the Republican Party and on Fox and stuff, that's not helping. That's hurting this process for them. So that is something that is happening. So if you have any way of reaching out, if you want to write to them, tweet them, let them know in some way, you should, because that's what they need. Okay, so that's what I have on that. Then I had a question somebody had. It was really, thoughtfully put, and I really appreciated the email, but it was about what happens to cruel and greedy, mean people? What happens to them? Do they pay for what they, if they do escape some kind of judgment here? What happens to them? What is their fate? And of course, I don't know everything. I know I could tell you what I could tell you. But I'm going to ask that question and ask for as clear an answer as I can get for you, because I think that's a great question. And I think it's the big frustration, right? We want everybody to be Michael Cohen. We want them to have we want them to be caught, to be, confronted, to have them come to the light and have them serve their time and come out a new person. That's the dream, right? So we talked about that before, that's what we hope for, for all of these people. Pray for that. Like, I think Andrea on Lilac Lantern, she on her channel, she always talks about pray for enlightenment for these people. I think that's a great suggestion. Pray for enlightenment. That's what happened to Michael Cohen. Pray for that. And that's the best for all of us, right? We love it. They'll be okay, and that's it. But let's find out what will happen to these people who are basically lost in their in the ugliness of the earth, and they're stuck in it, and they don't see the light. What happens to those people, those souls? So there, I'm getting it. It's actually a very painful process. There's so we come here with the best of intentions, right? We all have the idea of the way we want our life to go, and nobody comes here wanting to do bad things. We all come here with great intentions, and we all come in here with different limitations. We come in here with certain gifts. We come in here with or abilities, I guess you'd say, gifts and abilities, talents. And we come in here with also challenges, things we're going to be challenged with in our life. And when we have finished a life and we've completely screwed it up, or completely gone the complete other way that we thought we would, or the complete other way we wanted to, and if you take it as like we all come in with the best of intentions, we all have certain things we really want to do, and to mess it up or not do it all what we want to do and do a lot of harm to other people, not only will we feel and understand the ripple effect and the harm that we've done, but all of a sudden I feel like a deep sadness come over me. So it's a very heartbreaking, devastating, very sad thing for not only the spirits who wanted you to come and do such a great job, but for you to realize I messed it all up and I messed up all these people and all of this stuff. Yeah, I'm getting full chills on that. It's a really devastating, difficult thing to go through. So I think the important thing to know just for ourselves that it's kind of like we don't need to concern ourselves or to lower our vibration to wish upon these people anything. They really will face and have to, they will have to face their own lifetime when they're, when they've left here. Whether or not they have, I'm sure that if they face some kind of justice and have some kind of enlightening experience, that definitely, it changes things on the other side, right? But if they don't, it's made more difficult in a way. It's very hard to fix. And you know that the only way to fix it is to go back and to try to start undoing and fixing all of this, what, for lack of a better word, karmic energy, and try to fix this. But basically nobody escapes any responsibility for the things that they do and say, the actions they take. Nobody escapes it. So I guess that's the answer to that. That's what I'm getting. So, and in a way, I feel like it's almost a little bit of a caution to us too, to kind of be like, you worry about you, and don't, if somebody else is being horrible and awful, don't get sucked in and become horrible and awful like them because you're so angry with them. Try to stay in the light and try to hope that they come to the light rather than you go to the darkness and be like, I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. Try to stay in the light and hope that they do, hope that they find it. Pray for their enlightenment, right? It's such a hard thing to do sometimes, but that is the better way. And I know that, Eckhart Tolle talks about when you come across someone who's unconscious, meaning they don't have any connection right now with their spirit self, they're kind of completely lost in the physical, in the drama of the physical, whatever, that they're completely separated from that part of them that's connected to source. When you come across someone like that, to not be drawn into unconsciousness yourself. Just recognize that, oh, they're unconscious. That's what's happening to them right now. And I'm not going there. So I feel like the Spirit's giving us an answer and in a way giving us a, cautioning us, saying, but be assured that they're going to experience what they are going to understand fully what they've done, how they've affected others, and it's going to be a thing. But don't let that, don't in a way, don't get involved in that. Focus on your thing. What is your thing? What are you doing to make the world lighter and brighter, and try to counteract it. If you see some darkness, awfulness, yuckiness going on in the world, turn around and do something that is of light, of hope, of love. That's the best thing we can do, rather than get sucked into it. Easier said than done, by the way, when you're dealing with some of the characters we are, but that is what we're supposed to do. So I hope that helps. Okay, everybody. Well, we'll be home in a few days and I will jump on then and you'll be able to see little Lucy Goose, which is, she's doing great. She apparently has not liked where she's been because she had to be my mom's and there's another dog there. She doesn't like competition, but we'll have her back and you'll get to see her. And yeah, so thanks for, I appreciate you bearing with me through the last month or so. I jumped on when I could and had to move appointments around and everything. So I really appreciate you, you know, being very tolerant of me changing things for a little while. I really appreciate it. It was necessary, I think, for my mental health to be able to see Cassie, and I know she's okay. She's doing great. And yeah, so thank you so much. I will talk to you guys soon. Please check out the 2 interviews I talked about. I think you will enjoy them. I think you will get a lot out of the conversation I had with Christian. Please check that out. You will not be sorry. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.